The lore of Hollow Knight has been mostly figured out. A detailed history of the ruined kingdom of Hallownest has been constructed from the tiniest details. Story of the ages, decoded through over-analysis of art, words, and the very fabric of the game. People with little to no life have dedicated themselves to figure out the history of a forgotten digital land. But one question has gone unanswered for years. One that we didn't even know we needed to know the answer to, until now. An age-old answer to an age-old question. Does the knight have a nose? Smell is one of those things that is barely mentioned in the game of Hollow Knight. Something that doesn't really add to the game, but something would be missing if it wasn't mentioned at least once. Fortunately, Team Cherry has left a few mentions of the sense. One of the main implications of this is the Defender's Crest. Obtained from the Dung Defender after he is defeated, a cloud of brown gas surrounds the player. This gas, which is assumed to be poop, deals a small amount of damage to nearby enemies. However, the knight is not affected by it. Very strange. When in the inventory, the lore of the charm describes it as a unique charm bestowed by the King of Hallownest to his most loyal knight, scratched and dirty, but still cared for. Based on this, we know that the charm is from the Pale King, the King of Hallownest, one of two pale beings. Below that, the charm reads, causes the bearer to emit a heroic odor. A distinctive smell, especially an unpleasant one. This implies that the charm deals damage through scent, but wouldn't that mean the knight doesn't have a nose if it isn't affected by the stench? The only thing that stops this theory from working are 4 different vessels: the Hollow Knight, Pure Vessel, Broken Vessel, and Lost Kin. All of these enemies are affected by Defender's Crest. The Player Shade and the Abyss Shades are not affected by Defender's Crest, however they are very similar to ghosts, and none of the Spirit NPCs notice the Defender's Crest when it is equipped on the player. These 4 vessels are identical to the Knight. The Hollow Knight and Pure Vessel are the same vessel as shown with the Knight in the Abyss cutscene, and Broken Vessel and Lost Kin are the same as the other vessels in the Abyss, as well as the ones shown in the cutscene right after the Pure Vessel fight in Pantheon 4. All of these vessels are very similar to the Knight in most aspects, so why are they affected by Defender's Crest and the Knight isn't? Almost everything in the game is affected by the Defender's Crest, so whatever is not affected tells a story. Every enemy in the game is affected by the stench of Defender's Crest, save a few things. Mask Flies, Wing Molds, the Shades in the Abyss, and the Player's Shade. Royal Retainers are not immediately affected, however if you focus with Spore Shroom and Defender's Crest on, a cloud generated will kill them. 3 of the 4 things mentioned are made out of Void. So is it Void that's not affected by the odor of Ogrim? No. The vessels mentioned prior are all made of Void, as well as the Collector and King's Molds, who are all affected. 3 of the things mentioned were made by the Pale King, but that's not it either. The vessels in the King's Mold were all made by the Pale King as well. In addition, the White Lady can identify when the knight is wearing the charm and assumes she's talking to Ogrim, confirming that pale beings can at least notice the charm's effect. However, it isn't just pale beings that can notice the smell and not be hurt by it. We get extra dialogue from a few NPCs, including Elderbug, Divine, Dung Defender, Lem, Leg Eater, Tuck, and the White Lady. Of this list, we only care about Leg Eater and Divine, who can not only tolerate the charm's effect, but seem to enjoy it. So what does that mean? Does the knight have a nose but is just good at tolerating things? Does it enjoy smelling crap? The evidence points to the knight having a nose, but tolerance is not the best explanation to why they are not affected by the charm. Yes, the knight does have a nose. There you have it. The mystery is finally solved. This is because the vessels have basically the same anatomy as the knight, and they are affected by the charm that attacks through smell. So, where's the nose? Trust me, it's there. Having a visible nose does not seem to affect whether a character can smell the charm. Out of the 7 NPCs that can smell the charm, only 3 have visible nostrils. This means that even if there is no visible nose, it's there. The explanation that best explains why the knight is not affected by the charm is a mix of tolerance to the smell and the fact that the bearer of the charm is not affected by its magic. The charm protecting its bearer explains how the knight is not affected by the charm even though it has just picked it up. The reason that the charm would not be able to hurt its bearer is because the Pale King made it for his most loyal knight, Ogrim. So why would he make something that would hurt his most loyal knight? Tolerance to the scent explains how some of the NPCs are not affected by the charm, and how some even enjoy it, such as Divine and Leg Eater. The White Lady is not hurt by the charm because she is a higher being and is above such things. However, she can still smell it and identify it as Ogrim. Ogrim is not hurt by his own charm, but can still identify it in the main game, This is because he can either tolerate its effects or because the Pale King built it just for him. However, he cannot tolerate it in the Hall of Gods because, I don't know, god power or something. The best theory to explain everything is game design. It will always be game design. However, I didn't like that conclusion, so I thought for a bit and came up with something a bit more stretched, but far more entertaining. This entertaining theory leaves some holes open in the explanation though, such as how Ogrim is still affected and hurt by his own charm when fighting him again in the Hall of Gods, how some enemies are not affected by the stench, such as Wingsmold and Maskflies, while most are, and why the Pale King gave the vessels the ability to smell. If you have any thoughts on ways these might be explained, leave them in the comments. While you're down there, be sure to subscribe. It's free, easy, and supports me greatly. Thanks for watching.